Richard Dick Mattice, tennis. Section 4, singles champion, 1948 and 1949. Undefeated junior and senior years, 26-0 during regular season and sectionals. Section 4, doubles champion, 1946 and 1947. Played #1 singles 3 of his 4 seasons. Section 4, badminton champion, 1949. And he was from the class of 1949. So Richard Dick Mattice.
Dick Mattice. Dick is a generational player. There is no doubt about it. And how did he come to my attention? Well, like all stories start, they start usually with me asking the question, hey Dad, who's the best tennis player you ever played with? Without hesitation, without thought, well, it's Dick Mattice. Like, well, who's he? And so it planted the seed, and it launched itself from there. We unfortunately didn't get time to expand on that. So when it came time to, and this is part of my philosophy, is going back and honoring these old guys, because that's where all the sports tradition starts. These guys, the Savoons, the Dick Mattices, Ed Nelsons, certainly from a tennis standpoint, they start the tradition and why we're here, because there's a lot of purple pride. Just so. So I went digging, and he's already in the Hall of Fame in the 1948 tennis team. 1948 tennis team at the time was touted as the only undefeated tennis team in Norwich. So I knew of him, but then I really did the big deep dive, and I realized that he played doubles with my Uncle Chuck. Well, when we honored the 48 tennis team and they were on their run and we were doing a promotional thing, we brought Uncle Chuck and Fred Myers at the time and had a team picture with them. And unfortunately at the time, my uncle was in the beginnings of some memory issues and we didn't really get to talk about it. So there's a lot more questions out there that I have and a lot of answers that I can't give you. But the story begins in the southwest corner of Norwich, which seemed to be the magnet of all athletics. You had Alumni Field, and the Conkey Courts, as we call them. So if you were going to play tennis, you had to be from the southwest corner. I talked to Ed Tucker and J.R. Hamilton, and those guys talk about the southwest corner, and that's where his career began. No doubt, probably visiting Stewart's store, Graham Stewart's store, and having a few Cokes and some games of pool in the back. So his tennis career evolves and grows. So I ponder this. I think about this a lot. Like, there's a lot of schools out there. Why is it Norwich has such a dominating tennis team? For 8 years in the 40s, we either won singles championships or the doubles championships. He won 4. He won one as a freshman doubles. He won the second one in doubles playing with my Uncle Chuck, and then proceeded to go on and win 2 singles championships his junior and senior year. He lost only 1 tennis match between his junior and senior year. And that was to the state champion up in Syracuse. Wow. If I was going to create an all tennis team for Norwich, let's divide it, right? You got the new racket and you got the old racket. So let's go with the old rackets. He'd be 1, 2. Between him and Ed Nelson, for 8 years, they either won a singles championship or a doubles championship for 8 straight years. Why in Norwich? Norwich. Like, tennis isn't like your football and baseball. It's not like considered like one of those masculine sports back in the 40s, I'm sure. But it produced some really, really, really good tennis players. I did some research on Dick, and all I know about him is he was a real quiet dude. And that was the number one thing everybody said about him. Hey, I was at a party the other day up at Handy's, and I talked to his boss, and he goes, yeah, I know him. Yeah, a real quiet dude. And so I don't really have a lot to offer other than he was an amazing tennis player. He was a generational tennis player that grew up in the southwest corner of Norwich, where like all the tennis players seem to have come from. And I can't think of a more deserving guy to get in here. And I'm glad I had the opportunity and time to research that and bring him up and bring him forth. So I had his granddaughter here, Crystal, who is going to come up and accept Dick's plaque. So, on behalf of Crystal, I'll say she says, thank you. So, that's mine for tonight. Sit back, enjoy. Thank you very much.